All right. So, welcome all to another edition of the Agenda 2063 TV series on the African Continental Free Trade Area. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us on this wonderful day. And happy International Women's Day to all our beautiful women, grandmothers, grandparents. Let's give a clap for them. All right. They say the hand that rocks the cradle is a hand that rules the world. And therefore, it is without saying that we're going to have a very important discussion about the role that women, but also youth, can play in the whole discussion around the Continental Free Trade Area. It's a very important one at this time that everyone's talking inter-African trade. What exactly are the benefits, the merits, the demerits? These are the kind of areas that we want to touch on in this edition today against an important backdrop of International Women's Day. So we're going to take a break. In a minute, we'll be right back, then zoom right into the discussion. We'll be right back.
كمال محمد عبيد مدير جامعة أفريقيا العالمية، أعمل في هذه الجامعة منذ العام 1982. جامعة أفريقيا العالمية كغيرها من الجامعات تؤدي وظائفها الرئيسية التعليم والبحث العلمي وخدمة المجتمع. الجامعة الآن دخلت في مشروع جديد بإدخال فكرة الجامعة المنتجة وتقوم بتدريب الطلاب وتقوم كذلك بخدمة المجتمع. الجامعة الآن بالإضافة إلى كلياتها في مقرها الرئيسي تنتسب لها أكثر من 17 كلية نظامية في عدد من الدول الأفريقية وخارج أفريقيا. يشكل المركز الإسلامي الأفريقي واحد من المؤسسات الرئيسية في الجامعة، وهو الذي يهتم بتقديم الخدمة للمجتمع عن طريق تنظيم القوافل والمخيمات التربوية للطلاب. لدينا قناتين الآن، قناة العالمية العامة وقناة العالمية التعليمية بالإضافة إلى راديو أفريقيا، ويديرها الأساتذة والطلاب. أن تحصل جامعة أفريقيا العالمية على جائزة الملك فيصل في مجال خدمة الإسلام هذا مؤشر لأن الجامعة تعمل في الاتجاه الصحيح، التعليم المتميز لتحقيق أهداف الدعوة.
All right, so welcome back from the break. Let me just say that this edition is proudly sponsored by Dreamliner International School. You'll find them along the Dodowa roads. They're offering English and American-style curriculum with the Montessori-style training of young kids. You've got to check their website out, check the school out. A very, very interesting place to be. Great children and great leaders are coming out of there. Dreamliner International School. Thank you very much for supporting us on this edition. And thank you also for gracing yourselves as well once again today. We have great guests as well as a powerful studio audience who will help us demystify, unpack, and explain the whole issues around the Continental Free Trade Area, but especially the aspects where it pertains to helping us understand where women and the youth fit in. But let's start off with our guest first, Mrs. Awuni. She is with the African Continental Free Trade Area Policy Network. She'll tell us very briefly about herself, and also Michael Larbi, who is also with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Policy Network. So, Mrs. Awuni, just tell us briefly about yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody who is here. My name is Mrs. Faustina Awuni. I'm with the Policy Network, and my interest is on women and the youth doing things different and understanding what the policy is all about. And we can see, we have to say that Africa is blessed with a lot of natural resources. And if you're opportune to be educated on things, you have to harness it. In what way are we the women, even if it's the food you are cooking at home, how are you improving on the food? Let's take it that low before we come out to the public. So I think women are very important on this policy because we are able to take care of our environment, our babies, what we eat, what we drink, And when we are healthy, we can do anything. That's my interest. Thank you very much.
All right,
Yeah.
Mrs. Awuni, thank you very much. Michael, so
Yeah.
tell us about yourself.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right.
My name is Michael Larbi, and I'm glad and very passionate about the African Continental Free Trade Area. I will be looking into the youth, what has the youth got to do in the African Continental Free Trade Area? How can we take advantage of it? And then, the possibilities that we can find in the area as well. And how can we, the youth, position ourselves to be able to maximize the potential that we can find in the area. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, Michael, thank you. Thank you for that. Now, let's have a quick show of hands of who has actually heard of the Continental Free Trade Area in the audience. Okay. All right. It could be more, certainly. And how many of you know that there's a Continental Free Trade Area coming to Accra? Okay, it could also be a lot more. Well, let me break the silence for you. The Continental Free Trade Area is an AU project, part of Agenda 2063. And the Secretariat is actually going to be opened at the end of this month, 31st March. A lot of heads of state are going to come to town and actually open the Secretariat, which is 5 minutes walk from British Council. Africa Trade House, I don't know if any of you have seen it. That's where the AU guys will come and start working. Over time, there will be between 100 and 500 staff of the AU. Some of them will be seconded from Addis Ababa to come to Accra to come and work. We won't go into the reasons why Accra was selected. Those are political reasons. But Ghana was chosen, obviously, because Ghana had not really had an AU institution that could befit its name, given where Kwame Nkrumah was in the whole Pan-African discussion. And so that was one of the reasons why they decided that Accra should be the place to host there. So thank you very much. This offers us a good insight into the immense work that still needs to be done on sensitization. And that's one of the things that we're very happy to be doing with this show, to help sensitize people and audiences on the need for the Continental Free Trade Area. So in that respect, if you have questions, comments, feel free to drop comments along the social media handles, the WhatsApp, the Twitter handles, the LinkedIn, and so on. AAU TV, AAU 67 on Twitter, and so on, and Association of African Universities TV on Facebook, because there are a lot of questions around the Continental Free Trade Area that the youth, some women may know of, but the youth certainly need to know, because it's also about entrepreneurship. We hear a lot about entrepreneurship, not relying on the government and so on and so forth to do all these things. And after the African Continental Free Trade Area offers that opportunity to rely on ourselves without necessarily going to government or finding jobs in government to sort our lives out. And it's also an opportunity to travel, because free movement of protocol is also buried inside that whole Continental Free Trade Area. So these are some of the things we want to unpack for this edition, so that we get that perspective where both women and both the youth are factored well. We are not going to end that discussion today. There will be a number of occasions where we can actually help people and unpack this whole complex area, because it's not easy. Inter-African trade is not an easy conversation to have. So thank you once again. And we're going to start off with you, Mrs. Awuni. I think in the preparation for this program, shared an article which looked at the role that regions like East Africa are playing on preparing women for the Continental Free Trade Area. And it's clear that unlike parts of West Africa, and this is the reason why I'm coming to you, because you've had the experience of seeing, the Togo-Ghana border and other borders, how women are suffering there. It's clear that in East Africa, they're a lot more advanced as far as preparing women to handle how they should sell their goods, their wares and services across the borders. Cross-border trading is something that I know my grandparents had been doing for decades, and I know that almost every African parents grandparents has done at some point in their lives. So it's not something that is alien to us as Africans. How do we make sure that this new reality of African Continental Free Trade Area works well and fits well into helping women, you know, get some emancipation for themselves, so that even if they are not able to get a white collar job in a bank or something, they know that AfCFTA offers an opportunity for them to be fully employed.
Thank you, Mr. Bensah. With the East Africa, I don't think it was a magic. They work towards it. With the coming of AfCFTA, it's like inclusion and learning and unity for Africa. All we need to do as the West too is to learn from what they did, how they did it, and how they arrived at where they are now. Because their women were smuggling like the way it was being smuggled in West Africa before. But now they've got to see that it doesn't pay. This is a typical example. I have been on that road and I see a woman who came to Ghana to buy just African print. And I asked her, so how much did you pay for duty of this? She said, it's not even the duty that is my problem. I bought it, I did a calculation that, oh, I should be home today. But I've spent 3 days at the border. Because on reaching the border, lack of information, trade information, and lack of so many circumstances surrounding the border, which he could have found the information back here in Ghana and not even buying the cloth at all. On reaching there, it was a different thing. She spent 3 days. 3 days because I buy this clothes for maybe 1,001. I'm to pay 1,005 as a duty. You see, so if that woman was aware that this is how much I will pay, she won't even buy that clothes. So now she has to spend 3 days there. After 3 days, she got to know that if she smuggled it, she will pay 500.
It's a lot easier, but
so you see, this is where the problem is. Make the trade information available for these women. Let it, when I mean make it, some of these informations are available, but how available it is the question.
In World Bank.
It shouldn't be there. It has to come down to the people who are really doing the thing practically. The woman who say, I want to trade, let this thing be like a signpost all over. We get worried when we walk on the road and you see posters of nothing on the road. Why don't you post such things on the road for us? Make it in a better form. It rolls all over, we get to know. So I think for me, I am happy with the African Continental Free Trade. Being human, we always want to be governed and guided by laws. This is going to be by law. And I think with that, I am advising the women. It's 2 ways. If you can't read, your children, by all means, one person is reading. Form a union. What the East Africa did is they form a union. The head can interpret everything for them. Form it, let them interpret things for you. When you read the border, you have so thing, the cost is, the weight is this, they're overcharging you. You challenge it and have your way. So I think the women should stand up, let's learn, and things will be better since the laws are now here.
And that's entrepreneurship right there, because I see in what you're discussing 2 things already. The important role of communication through trade information and also entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship because women actually taking the initiative to say, look, here's a challenge for our women. They need to render services for their families by going to the borders and so on. So how does 1 or 2 or 3 people with the education that they have go and rally these women so that they say that, look, let's design communication things, outfits or programs or things to help them understand. So already we have seen in just this 2-3 minute discussion that there are possibilities that are already coming out of it, entrepreneurship, communication possibilities. So for those people who have expertise or an interest in communication, your job is never ending, because there will be women who need to have things interpreted to them from local language into English and vice versa, to understand and take advantage of these things. And this is actually what is happening also in East Africa. They actually also have people who have, let's say, attachés, so assistants, who are designated to these women, some of whom can only speak the local language, who then help them go through the borders and get trade information and so on. So there are lessons that definitely we can pick from what the different regions are doing. And as we even focus on what the women can be done for women, clearly, I think the same can be said for youth as well, because the youth are going to be clearly the future of any society. So what is it that, in your view, Michael, the youth also needs to quickly do to make sure that they can capitalize on this continental free trade area? Because it's an opportunity now. We don't have to wait for the men in grey suits and the ministries to come and say they're going to do trade on our behalf. What is it that the youth can also pick up for themselves and go out there to make sure that they are also taking advantage of this free movement of protocols, this ability to cross borders freely, because continental free trade area offers that
Okay,
privilege.
so I think first of all, the question is, what percentage or what's the size of the youth that are aware of the African continental free trade area?
And the youth, of course, is 60% of any population in Africa. Anyway.
Exactly.
It's a huge youth bulge, it's 60%.
Exactly.
That's quite big.
Exactly. And so we cannot underestimate the youth involvement in the African continental free trade. And as a matter of fact, we should also look at how we can reach out to the youth for them to be aware of the incoming huge opportunity for them. And what are the ways that we can reach out to the youth? And for me, I see that social media is one of the best platforms for us to get in touch with the youth, because now all the youth are, social media, they all stick to their phones.
Instagram.
On Instagrams and all that, because they are in the changing times, and so most of them are with their phones and all that. So first off, we should target the youth. We should let them know of the African continental free trade area, the opportunities involved, and then now going forward, I believe that the youths, they are sort of really looking out for opportunities. Some of them are not really looking out for jobs, but they want to create something on their own. And so looking at that, majority of the youth, or a percentage of the youth that have that, zeal to do something on their own, they can take opportunity in the African continental free trade area, because I think this agreement provides about $1.something trillion, market size, and it tells you the market size of the agreement. And so if the youth can take opportunity and bring out something innovative, because the structures are always there, we have free movement of goods and services, free movement of skills and personnel as well. I mean, what's stopping us from going far? I mean, we are not just limiting ourselves to only Ghana, but then we can also look at North Africa, South Africa, and the youth.
All right. So on that note, we're going to take a break in a minute, and then we'll be right back to continue the important discussion.
Are you an institution or individual? Do you intend to organize a memorable event to be archived for future reference? Then look no further than AAU Studios, because it's your best bet with our spacious studio and state-of-the-art media equipment such as 4K Panasonic video cameras, KinoFlow lights, assorted microphones, live streaming equipment, among others. You are sure to get the best of productions. Visit us at Trinity Avenue, East Legon, adjacent the National Accreditation Board, or contact the AAU Studios via the following email addresses: info@aau.org, AAUTV@aau.org, or ransford@aau.org. Alternatively, you can call us on +233 244 736280.
Okay, so welcome back from the break. So Michael was just explaining to us about the importance of the youth. There's a youth bulge, 60%. The percentage of that youth, we are not so sure understand what the continental free trade area. That is already a lot of information that needs to be done. But then there's also the fact that social media is there. Social media has been an enabler allowing people to do a lot of things. And it
Yeah.
doesn't all have to be serious. You know, it can be a lot of fun. We can have selfies at the borders or something like that. I don't know. Someone goes to the border and takes a selfie with some market women and, you know, creates a chain. You know, all sorts of funny things just to catch the attention of, you know, the plight of these women and the plight of trading, the challenges that we are facing. Because this is a reality. Trading is a reality now. And we need to find fun ways in which we can all make it happen. Now, I want to put a question back to those among you who have you don't have to even be too familiar with what has been happening with the Continental Free Trade Area, but what in your view are ways in which you can help amplify the whole discussion on youth and women in the context of any discussion about intra-African trade? I'll come to you, Veronica.
Yes.
Yeah.
From the discussion so far, I'm just thinking how we've planned to get the information through our, coming from my background, through our school system, for instance.
Yeah.
Because so far, it seems the discussions have been at the top level, you know, and it's not really trickling down.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to wait till our young people get out of school before they start looking for information.
Mm-hmm.
So since we already have the institutions established,
Yes.
we could use our school system to start introducing the children. And this is a new arrangement that has come up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to enable African countries to trade better among themselves.
Okay.
And then so by the time you get out of school, you have an idea
Mm-hmm.
what to do, where to go, and all that.
Mm-hmm. So a curriculum of sorts.
We
Yeah.
use the school system to get the information to the ground.
Okay, so that's in I'm still sticking with you. That's for the youth.
Yes.
That's a good response for the youth. But in your view as a woman, putting yourself in maybe your grandmother's shoes or something, what do you think could be done, even as we speak now, to help sensitize people like that, our grandparents or up-and-coming people who are back home in our villages and in our countryside, that this reality of AfCFTA is here, and that therefore they can take advantage of it?
Right. I think listening to Mrs. Awuni, we have to understand that women play a very critical role when it comes to trade.
Yeah.
And we should not underestimate, you know, the capacity of these women to understand some of these arrangements.
Yeah.
But like she mentioned, it's because of the lack of information.
Yeah.
Knowing where to go for the right information and using the information to help the work they are doing.
Yeah.
And so we have to reach them where they are.
Yeah.
You go meet them at the marketplaces.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these markets have radio setups where we can disseminate information. We can use these opportunities. We can meet them at places where they have their own structures in the markets.
Mm-hmm. Makola and all these other
Yes, they have the market queens. They have their structures,
Mm-hmm.
which we can use to help them understand these things, because they are the key players in this whole system.
Okay.
And so we shouldn't leave this at the top level. For some of us, even though we've heard some bits and pieces of information, we are still not clear
Yes.
what this new arrangement is about and how it's going to help, you know, the teeming youth, you know, of Africa. We know the rate of unemployment and all that. How are we going to, you know, leverage this to help our youth to get something to do, work among themselves, develop the skills to harness the potential out of all of this.
All right.
So many opportunities exist that we can make use of.
Thank you very much. Maybe if you can pass it to a youth called Nelson Mandela. Now that's an interesting one. I think we should run for cover. He has come back. So Nelson, yeah. So tell us a bit about your views on what you think your response to some of the discussions that we've been having about.
I think more of them has to do with capacity building for the youth. Let's say if you take the school for instance, most of the school have student leaders. So I think we can start from that level. Once we have a student leader who is addressing the issue, we can channel it through the students. And from there we can use the religious bodies. Because I know most of them listen to their imams and their pastors a lot. So once we use the pastors, they also have that capacity building. People listen to their prophet even sometimes more than their parents as well. So once they are able to disseminate the information, I think it will go a long way. And from there we take it to the family. We can start from the family, maybe the head of the family also understands, start from the child to the eldest person. I think with that way we can make it better.
All right, thank you. Let's have a round of applause for both of them. Thank you very much. I'm going to come back to you, Mrs. Awuni. In your view, as someone who's been working with this African Continental Free Trade Area Policy Network, Ghana and Diaspora, in your view, this is supposed to be the first continental network of its kind seeking to help people understand inter-African trade and also sensitize them on what the African Continental Free Trade Area is doing. What are some of the, let's say, challenges that you have encountered so far in the young life of this network on what needs to be done for women? Because I'm sure you know that for the past 6 or 7 months that it's been around, the conversations has always needed to start off with, you know, the ministries of trade, and those are the frontliners and so on. And it is now that we haven't even gotten to the stage where we're talking about engaging the Ministry of Gender. You know, it always has had to be the Ministry of Trade first. And in your view, what do you think that we can do to innovate around these discussions to make sure that we reach out to both these important demographics of the youth and women a lot more quickly, because they always seem to come play second fiddle in discussions. And I think AfCFTA is reminding us that we need to stop that.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think AfCFTA is here and it will make all of us start thinking. I was involved in an awareness in one of these African countries, which was, we call it political awareness. It was sponsored by an NGO, and I was posted to Abuja. I learned a lot, and that is when I got to know that everything needs awareness. Because I went to a village. The village was very close to the airport, the international airport in Abuja. Those are people, I will not call it a village, but it's still a village because they still have their heart and everything. But this is what I learned. Those people have everything. Whenever we go and we are coming back, you need to see our pickup full with yams, tomatoes, everything. They don't need your money. But you see, the sad part of it was, when those people go and do campaign for them, they give them salt and omo and small things, and they just vote for them, and then they ask them, oh, what will you build for a school? And it's like they've had that like years, and there's no school there. Their children have to walk from where they are into town, which I would not do. Nobody would dream that is possible, but they are doing it. That is when I get to know that we need to have awareness to the grassroots. I call it awareness to the grassroots. We can't sit on radios and TVs. It doesn't work. And believe you me, after I wrote report on that thing, I got to see the power that Africa needs to stand and go to the hinterlands, the villages where there's no light. Are you ready to sacrifice for them to see you are the same with them? Reach there and eat what they are eating. You reach there, you'll be offered a yam and oil and pepper and salt to eat. And they understand you. we have to communicate in our local language. I got that opportunity because I can speak Hausa very well.
Yeah, and I totally agree with her.
Yes.
When you go to the village, they have the best healthy food.
Yes.
You know, without chemicals, it's naturally grown and you know,
And there's a
harvested.
reason why they are eating that food. They
Yes.
know what benefits they can get from it.
So if we after want to be serious and we are ready as people, today I met with I was to meet about 10 students, and this is what I told them. What you are reading is very beautiful. When you come out, you understand what is on ground. So whoever you meet, respect the person. Your relationship, the way you talk to people, because what you read doesn't matter. Normally, if you ask for my qualification, I say I've even forgotten what I read because I've done a lot. So we have to be ready as women, as who we are. Once in a while, please, let's drop our shoes. This is where we make the whole world behave that women, we are not tough. We are very tough. Once in a while, let's drop the powders and the lipstick. Once in a while, drop the wig, please. Let's go down there and meet our counterparts in the market. Get dirty. There are soaps and water. When it goes off, you are still the same you. It doesn't change your name. So this is what I think we should do. It's that simple. Let's get to the grassroots. It's the laws are going to be signed. It's already signed. The edifices have been built. Everything is there. But I think the women will have to start standing up for a better deal for ourselves. Because look, if it goes right with a woman, it goes right with everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much. I believe that we have a question.
Yeah.
If you can kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Violet Maku.
You're welcome.
I'm a quality assurance expert here at the AAU and also a workshops coordinator and a project officer. So I'm very happy to join in the discussion, but thank you for what you have said.
Thank you.
I laugh at politicians. When they are campaigning, they go to the rural areas where they know people haven't gone to school, but they still want to speak in English to ask those grassroots people to vote for them. So you are talking about practical things.
Yes.
So the issue of education and awareness, I normally put them together, education and awareness.
Yes.
It's very, very important. But what I see is that we lack the structures. Sometimes our things are not well structured to make the impact that we want. Like what she has said, I was thinking about it to say that we have the NGOs, but then it gives a problem of high dependence. But the NGOs deliver. They do deliver. So if they can deliver, what works is partnerships with the NGOs. They should know what is happening, and we work closely with them to disseminate information. And what I've noted, if you check like the Action Aid and these other ones, they are even prepared to do exactly what she is talking about, to go out of their way, to go into the raw settings and work with the people there. I laugh because my husband always says dirty and money go hand in hand.
Exactly.
Do you know that that's where money is?
Exactly.
So the reason why some people are not even bringing awareness is because the elite here, they want to go and buy the things there at a much lower price. And they bring them into the urban areas and they wash them, they pack them, and they charge like 10 times the price they have gotten there. So there are issues of selfish tendencies, and there are issues of real education, which we call adult education, continuing education, where we need now to consider the rural folk and say, how can we empower them to know the value of their yam?
What they have.
Because if they just say, okay, I'm here, if you give me like 50 or 100, you know I'm going to pay you like 500 Ghana cedis. They think, 500 Ghana cedis, what? But this person is going to make like 3,000 Ghana cedis. So we need to make them the capacity building. Somebody talked about capacity building. It's where we need to start from the principles of economics in very simple terms, so that we involve them into now reasoning to say, you can make money out of this, and the bargaining too. All those are some of the things we need to teach them. But who is going to do it and do it effectively? If the NGO has got an allocation and they exhaust their allocation, I like the input of the gentleman that we need to engage our traditional leaders. We need to engage our religious people. We need to teach in the schools, primary, secondary, even university. Because the lecturers also, they don't know yet. If you ask them, they just say, I know this thing is there, I heard it on TV, then what is? We want the detail of what it is and what it entails. And so those are the big challenges which we are having. So what do we do to close the gaps? Where are the people? If I was a politician, I'm not, I would use the after to campaign and win in the next election, because I would play around in the constituents which is in the raw setting and tell them I'm going to connect you, and I will really work to connect them so that they become part. And we package our things together, and we are now sending them maybe to Mozambique, or we are sending them to Uganda or Tanzania. So this is how I see things. You know, I talk too much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And your free consultation.
Thank you.
Free consultation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was a good
Nelson. Yeah.
Nelson.
So also to add to what Madam was saying,
Yeah.
I think the gender ministry, for instance, we have gender unit, we have children unit, and I think the social part.
Yeah.
And some of us who go down to the villages, if you go to maybe a gender unit in the district, there's nothing there to write home about.
Yeah.
When you ask them something, they will say, oh, if it's time for maybe policy work, maybe outside somewhere, they use party members attached to the gender minister. So I think it's time we have to build capacity more for these district directors of education, girl child education, the directors of children. Once we are able to build their capacity, they can carry the information more, and they also, because they are in the district, they understand the language that they also speak. So it's easier getting them on board than somebody coming from Accra going to speak English within 1 week and gets back to Accra and nothing happens.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you.
Those are very great ideas that we have to pick up.
What I want to say also is that, do you know, there are some things which we think they don't matter, but it's not one aspect which we should look at in order to make things work.
Yes.
We also now need to groom people to be volunteers.
Yes.
Volunteering, if I look at myself, throughout my life, I've been volunteering. But some of the things I'm just enjoying now because I put them on my CV. And people said, oh, you did this, you did this. So it may not be direct financial or material benefit, but later on it will work. Let's teach our children, our youths, our women, our men to always also volunteer and not to be paid for everything. Exactly. Why is it that other people come from elsewhere to volunteer to help us? Why can't we do it for ourselves? So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you for that very important submission. Yeah. And in fact, Mrs. Awuni will speak to that, and Michael, so that volunteering bit in a moment.
I came a little bit late. I really don't know exactly what you were talking about, but knowing that Women's Day is coming soon, and engaging women. Sometimes when you go to the villages, they say women, their place is in the kitchen.
Yes.
They don't have a place among the men. And even in some cities, some culture, a woman does not have a right to speak. And I remember in 2010, the theme for Women Day was equality, equality of women and progress for all.
Yeah.
And this year they are saying that it's generation equality. Do you think that we can be equal to men?
Thank you very much. And I want to tell every woman here, when they tell you your place is in the kitchen, you've been given a very big post. A very big post. I was telling this to, I used to speak a lot with people. I told the person, why do you take your car for service every 3 or 6 months? And some of you are sitting here, we've been cooking for you. You don't know we've been servicing you every day and every hour. Yeah. So when they tell you your place is the kitchen, please accept it very well and be happy and tell them one day I'll make you fast. And you know how powerful the kitchen is. Yeah. There are things they tell women. I think it's hard time the women have to know that, look, I don't think it's an insult. I think it's a very higher place they are placing us. Yeah. But sometimes they come across to us like we've been left behind. You are not left behind. Yeah. In that your kitchen, we should learn how to do things. Yeah. I personally have learned a lot to do things in my kitchen. I'm learning how to do African spices in my kitchen. For more than a year, I don't buy spices in the market. The Huintia and the Guamba and Co. I've been able to match them with different. If you say you want to make a soup, the one I'll give you is different. So now tell me who is in the kitchen. So please, I want the women here to know that women, we are so special, and we are what people don't even know. We have to portray ourselves to tell people who we are. You don't have to be in the office. You don't have to do all the things some women think we have to do. No. Be you. We are so important. We are so powerful. I don't know. I think we need to, some of us need to sit down one day. If you live in a home, one day sit down and tell yourself you are not doing anything. You will see the frustration in that house. Everybody will be walking up to you. So there's no water. So they didn't cook. So that is the power. That is what you have. So please, women, let's be proud. Yeah. Let's be proud.
Thank you. And I see that we were able to pique the interest of a young man, and another young man who lifted his hand up.
I want to ask a question from what
yes, please.
Lady just said. I want to ask whether you believe in gender-based rules.
Gender-based rules. Yeah. Look, I am not that type. I think when I was growing up, I was the type that can ride bicycle from Cape Coast to Elmina. I just felt we are all the same. Then there was no traffic light on the Pedu Junction. You know? So you understand what I mean. If you can do it, you can do it. Yeah. You are a woman, you have to have a child. It's just a normal thing. You are the man, you are the head of the family. It is. We all have a role. So we shouldn't mix it up. There is nothing like gender-based. I don't think it's really necessary. We only talk about it. The thing we're created, we are aware of it. So I don't think that doesn't really make difference. We have women that are going to the space now, so what are we talking about? It still makes us women. Yeah, so I think that's my answer to that.
And okay, and yes, madam?
Yes, I want to comment on what Larissa said. She asked the question that can a woman be a man? I don't know if I got that right, but that is something, yeah. I don't know why this argument keeps coming up, because I believe we are all individual people. You are a female, I am a man. Whether it is a man that has to be Chief Justice, if I am a woman and I've been able to get there, you don't need to tell me it is a man's position. Anybody can occupy the position. So I don't need you to tell me you are acting like a man, or it's so huge an achievement that you've been able to get there. We are all human beings. We can all get there. So I think that argument has to end as to whether a woman can be a man, can be as powerful as a man or not.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very
much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Michael would like to
I think the question should be, is the person capable of being in that position.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not about being a woman or a man.
Yes.
Is the person capable? Has she has all the qualities? And
That is
then
it.
that's it. If it qualifies, then I think
There's a
it
question
overrules
you
everything.
asked,
Yeah.
Okay, you'd like to respond, Larissa?
The question was, can a woman be equal to a man?
Yes.
Not that to be a man.
For a life.
You can't change your sex to be a man.
No, you see, let's get this thing right, please. Let's get this thing right today.
Okay.
It's not about sexes. It's about ability. And we are all human beings. We are all breathing. Please, without both, at times things don't work. So we are all important. It is not equality matter.
Okay.
It's being together and things working good. That's all.
Okay, so we're slowly winding down. We only have a couple of minutes, so maybe we'll take.
Yes, there's a question.
Yes,
you gave us.
doctor, please go ahead. No, yeah.
Sorry, for me, there's something I just want to say that, you see, there's a problem with us human beings. Sometimes people give an excuse of age. I'm too young to do this. I'm too old to do this. Sometimes they give the excuse of, I'm a woman, I'm a man, and all these things. But for me, I tell you, and then some even slip away from responsibilities and not doing things. But I always pronounce to say, not because maybe you're a woman, not because you are old or young, not because of your position at the workplace, not because of what, I'm just supporting it. No matter who you are, you can do anything that anybody can do. Because for now, look at where we are. We have got the girl Malala. Now there's a Malala Day throughout the world. The girl who stood for education for the girl child in Pakistan. But that time, she was even a teenager. Can you imagine? A woman, a teenager. And then we have Greta Thunberg from Switzerland. Even Trump is trembling when he couldn't know how to face Greta. And then Prince Charles say, I want a photo with Greta. So, but this is also another teenager. Both of them have won world prizes. And so it's nothing to do with those things which we attach to. If you find that now the engineers, the women, and the pilots, the women, one got out of a plane and said, so who was the pilot? And said, that lady was our pilot. If I had known, I wouldn't have flown. But why?
I don't
she has flown you. And so what we need to do is to change our mindsets. And we need role models. And we are the ones who break the stereotypes and the gender roles. If you have got children of both sexes, the male and the female, don't assign these kitchen roles and don't buy dolls and cars and you say, you will play with a doll. He will play with the car. Let them mix. As they grow, they should all wash dishes. They should all clean the house. And that way, we also start to work and address those issues practically.
Yes,
thank you very much. Those are very, very, very important. So we just have 2 minutes. So quickly.
Okay. I thought initially we were talking about the free trade.
Yes,
in
please.
Africa. Okay, I want to ask a question about Nigeria closing its borders. Is it not affecting all the other African countries or West African countries?
Okay.
It is. You are right. But you know, in as much as we have what we call the ECOWAS and the sovereignty and everything, we have their heads of state too. They might make some decisions that will not favor me and you when it comes to such issue. Trade and the border is going hand in hand. Now let's look at it. It's coming end of the month. It's open now. The agreement has been said. Everything is going to be commissioned. Let's see how it plays with that. Let's see how it plays with that. Let's see. So I think for now that's what's the answer with that.
Okay. So yes, please.
Yes,
Madam.
please. I wanted to ask with regards to the trade. As a youth, I want to know what are some of the benefits I can get from such a trade. Well, earlier I heard about communication. If you are a communication person, this is an opportunity for you. So apart from that, what are some of the benefits I can enjoy as a youth?
What do you have in where you come from? What do you have as content? Where I come from, we have fish. So what do you have in your place?
We also have fish.
Fish. Yes. Have you thought of processing a fish and packing it and selling it in kilos out somewhere?
Not yet.
We always have something, so it's part of the trade.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think that neatly sums up the answer. It's been a very lively and interactive discussion, but I think I just want to give a last word to Michael on the way forward in your view on where the youth need to be. Just 1 minute.
Yeah, so 1 minute is too short. Okay, so personally, I don't believe in so much education, formal education. I believe in personal education. You learning from within, what you have within, what you can bring outside and to affect positively the lives of people. And so I have always been like, no, I don't want to work for person, or I don't want to work for organization. I want to build something on my own so that I can now release it to my, to my children. And so that is where the youth should position themselves. I think the youth are all like, they're always concentrating on how many degrees, how many master's degrees, how many PhDs, like, and then at the end of the day, they don't get any job to do, and because like it's so much. You waste all your time, your productive time, studying. And so you have to now look around you, look within you, and then try and develop yourself and see the opportunities around you, capitalize on it, and now the world is at your feet. There's no barrier, there's no so please let's restrike our mind and let's shift our mentality.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Michael. So shifting our mentality is the most important thing that we need to do in the whole conversation on the free trade. But Mrs. Awuni, just 1 minute for you.
Yeah, well. Thank you very much. I think it was, I've heard a lot, I've learned a lot from my sister here, and Michael have said it all. Let's just shift our mind. I just asked him, what do you have? What do you have? Let's start. You have no need, I'll send it to others and say, what do you have? Let's start thinking about something. That is all about it.
So I think the long and short of it all is that it's not about the number of degrees that you accumulate at the end of the day. Even in the understanding the whole discussion about continental free trade area, don't feel that you need to pack up the degrees on economics and law and everything. Right now, it is what do you have within you, within your environment that you can capitalize on to make sure that you can also leave a legacy for yourself, for your children, and so on and so forth, for your family. Because, our grandparents have done wonderful things, and not all of them had great degrees. They have built houses, and did they build a house with a degree? No. So we can do great things. The degree is only an additional thing to ensure that we do things more efficiently. But that is not the necessary solution. And that applies the same as far as the continental free trade area is concerned. Continental free trade area is here. Freedom of movement is here as well. So what we now need to do is to read as much about it as we can. It's not going to be easy, but that is why organizations like the Continental Free Trade Policy Network is around. So if you have questions, suggestions, fears, complaints, Michael and Mrs. Awuni are here as part of the network, and myself as well. I'm leaving myself out. But they're here to help unpack the whole discussion for you. But we are the only continental network of its kind seeking to help people understand what inter-African trade is about on all sectors. Trade information is a very key thing, which going forward we think we need to do. So we're very happy to have come your way today. International Women's Day. Once again, happy International Women's Day to all the women. And it's big ups to all the great things that you do, the wonderful food that you cook for our parents.
And to the men supporting the women.
And to the men who are supporting the women. The he for she, and all these other things as well. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
And we'll come your way next time with another topic. But once again, thank you for taking time out, and have a great day. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.